Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Okay. All right. That might have been our worst segment ever, that first segment. Welcome back to the program, folks. Thanks for sticking in with us. Okay, today is what day? It is Thursday, which means what?
It means that all of our guests today are presented by the Vancouver Giants, who have a massive night on Saturday.
As we mentioned in that horrendous first segment, today's guests are brought to you by the Vancouver Giants. That includes Farhan Lalji. Farhan used to play for the Chilliwack Chiefs. Saturday at the LEC, it is the annual Teddy Bear Toss game for the Giants as they take on the Kelowna Rockets, 7 p.m. The game is sold out, but standing room and general admission tickets are still available. Get all the info at vancouvergiants.com/tickets. Farhan Lalji joining us now from TSN. How are you, sir?
I'm good. The Teddy Bear Toss game, you know, I've got this memory indelibly etched in my mind when my daughter was 3 and I took her and my son to a game and all these teddy bears got thrown and she looked up in the air and it was like she had gone to heaven.
Yeah.
All these teddy bears all over the place and she took one thinking that, of course, she gets to take a teddy bear home. So I had to explain to her that that's kind of not how it works. But always a fun night for the Giants when that happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we've already had one instance this year where a goal was disallowed, but the Bears, I forget what junior team had this happen to it, but goal disallowed, the Bears still came on the ice, or somebody hits a goal post and the Bears, the red light goes on, the Bears come on the ice. It's always a whole lot of fun. You're absolutely right. All right, Farhan, 6-5, Canucks win down in San Jose in overtime. The goals keep a-coming for the Vancouver Canucks. Are you enjoying the run-and-gun edition of the Vancouver Hockey Club?
Well, look, if nothing else, they're fun, right? And it's like the Forrest Gump line, life's like a box of chocolates. You just don't know what you're going to get with this Vancouver Canuck team. So, the last few games, we have seen the best and the worst of the Canucks, right? We've seen an elite power play. We've seen high-end players score goals. We've seen an ability to come back, but we've seen blown leads. We've seen average goaltending. We've seen bad defensive zone awareness and coverage, and it's just all there on a nightly basis, which makes you wonder if they can ever have a level of sustained success because they're just so consistently inconsistent. But you'll remember this, both you guys, right? I mean, it's like the 1970s and 80s Norris division, right? Just crazy run and gun, helter-skelter hockey. And if you're Spencer Martin right now, like, how excited are you? You give up 4 goals, you get the hook, and you're not on record for the loss. And then here you give up 5 goals and you get the win.
Yeah, good point. Hey, JT Miller, no ice time in overtime, and we're not sure what's happening there, if there was an injury issue. He was on late in regulation, but that was a surprise. Could you understand why, if indeed there's not an injury?
Well, I mean, you can debate how well he was playing in his own end, right? And maybe there were some concerns in that area. Maybe it's a residual effect from a previous overtime, or maybe things didn't go the way they wanted. Who knows? I didn't hear Bruce Boudreau post game discuss it, so it's different for sure. But we saw a scenario where Connor Garland's been scratched, where Brock Besser was about to be scratched, where Thatcher Demko got less playing time based on performance. Right? We've seen all of those things, so I don't know why JT Miller needs to be immune from it. Right? I get he's a big contract player and that he's going to be a fixture on this team for a long time here, but. Ultimately, if you're not playing well, it should be reflected in your ice time. We saw Elias Pettersson when he was struggling last year at times when Bruce Boudreau first got there. I think he played as little as 11 minutes in one game, right? And I just think that nobody should be immune, especially when you're a team that's this ordinary.
Hey, Farhan, the fourth line, all you want from a fourth line is play in the offensive zone, don't get scored on, provide the energy. Man, these guys are bringing it, all three of them, Joshua, Amon, and Lazar. Joshua, great goal last night, had the hat-trick goal called back. This is turning into a pretty decent fourth line for Vancouver.
Yeah, it really is. And, we saw a bit of that last year when they had a different line, right, with Tyler Mott and a couple of other guys, Matthew Highmore. And so they seem to have been able to kind of manufacture and cobble together these trios. And, when you look at it, this is actually a group that's being deployed like a third line, right? I mean, Bruce Boudreau has got a lot of trust in these guys because of exactly what you outlined, right? They're able to play in the offensive zone. Nils Amon has been just a real revelation for this team, right? Because you didn't think he had a real chance going into training camp, but he just looked solid through the preseason. He's that guy that an organization can always point back to and say, look, do your job, and there's always going to be room for you. We're always going to make room for good players, right? Curtis Lazar, that energy, you always knew he was going to get that. Dakota Joshua was a guy that the organization knew a little bit about when they were sharing a minor league team with St. Louis, and just a bigger body. He does or possesses some traits that the Canucks don't have a lot of, and he's been living up to it. So it's been a really good group, no doubt. And even Joshua, who got the 2 goals, he's been rewarded with PP2 time, so a lot to like with that group.
Absolutely. Okay, let's switch over to Nathan Rourke of the BC Lions. He has started his workouts in the NFL. What are you hearing about the workouts? Anything so far?
Yeah, he's done 3 already. You know that with Vegas and Jacksonville and Denver. And I talked to 2 of those teams, and they've been really impressed with what they've seen. And I think they're going to contemplate signing him as they get into that period. There's 4 other teams that are on the schedule. We've seen them. Indianapolis, Tampa's on the list. Arizona and Minnesota, I think, are on the list as well. And there's others interested. And I think they were originally, Rourke and his team were looking at around 10 teams to go to, give or take 1 or 2. I don't know that they'll get to that many. The next workout is going to happen on Monday. So I think that's kind of the plan. Do a couple, come back home, get rested, take some pressure off the foot, go back and do a couple more. And they're not looking at offers yet, right? Like they want to wait until they get through at least half of these before they initiate the offer process with some of these teams. But, there's interest, and he's doing well, right? And at some point you want to get through all of these, then he's going to need another procedure on his foot to get the plate taken out of his foot. But, look, I'd be surprised if he doesn't get signed. I've said that for a long time now.
Brian Burnham, he was on our show yesterday, Farhan. How would you, he's retiring for people who don't know, how would you sum up his 8 seasons with the Lions?
Well, just classy, consistent, spectacular, all of the above. And I think if you're a Lions fan, you've had the pleasure from going from G. Roy Simon into Brian Burnham's career, right? Yeah. And just watching this guy play, the way he consistently pulls down spectacular catches, right? People have said, well, he doesn't separate, which is why he's got to win those contested balls. Well, guess what? He wins them anyway, so it doesn't really matter. He finds a way to get it done. Represented himself in the organization and the city with a lot of class. And he's one of those guys that has kind of transcended the market, right? Because this league over the last decade, we're finding fewer and fewer players who move the needle outside of their home market, right? There was a time where everybody knew all the good players in the league. Everybody in the league still knows who Brian Burnham is, right? So that's a rare thing right now, and I'm going to miss watching him play because he's a good guy.
Are you trying to get another travel mug office? Is that why you're holding that?
It's called a product drop. Come on, Donnie. I know you're old, but you should understand how some of this stuff works. This is why you sent it to me, right? Okay. Like I could pretend like I'm drinking. I've got Crown in here that Rick sponsors, all of it.
Yeah. Well, it sounded like I had Crown in my travel mug in the first segment.
In the first segment, I think we had some Crown in our mugs. Hey, listen, take that with you to the Super Bowl and show it around everybody.
All right, I'll take it to Radio Row because we wouldn't want to put it on television.
Yeah. Ryan, get Farhan another travel mug. Thanks for this, Farhan. Next week, buddy.
All right, take care, guys.